Hey yo, what's up guys? So today we'll be fixing a BMW issue. Click, no start. Click, no start. Yep, you heard it right. Okay, so uh we were installing some parts on the vehicle, right? And everything went just fine as it's supposed to be. Trying to start the car, crank it up, no life at all. Just click, no start. We throw the jumper cable through it, jumping it by another vehicle. That didn't help. The voltage went up to 12.4 volts and still couldn't crank the starter. Okay, so I moved ahead. I went to the relay. Okay, starter relay, right? Started testing it, making sure that it's working probably as it's supposed to be. And that's what I did. I swapped this relay with the, the relay right on the right hand side. Yep, they're the same relays actually. So I did that, take it apart, test it, that didn't have all. Okay, now I moved to the next step. I was like, what's going on with the car? So, is it a fuse or is it just something wrong with the ECU or what? So I started looking at the codes. Got my scanner right. Looked everywhere online, like literally everywhere. I went Google, I went YouTube, I found vehicle virals, I found a few people that likes to post about BMWs. And no one has this type of issue before. No one had it. Well, technically no one had this code before. Very few people, as it's not that common. Okay, so the codes we were having 2D, ED, 2E98, CD, A6, and the other ones was basically belong to a high pressure fuel system, and that's what it made me more think it's more about the ECU itself. So what I did, let me show you. Okay, so that's the ECU, right? Took the cover off, test all the MOSFETs as well, take the whole motherboard out and get access to the bottom motherboard to test the diodes, test the other what do you call it, the MOSFETs. There's another MOSFETs down underneath under this cover. As soon as you remove this cover, there's screws, and there's another MOSFETs under. Yep, there's about 2 sets, I would say 2 or 3 sets of MOSFETs. So I did test them all, and I went and tested all the chips, try to figure out the issue. However, everything came out positive, so I started chasing the problem. Right. So the first thing I did, after the whole research I've done, that's what I found out. Okay. So the most common problem about this issue, click no start, in general, is a BST, battery safety switch, which is technically is this one. I took it apart just to test it out as my final result after a whole 9 hours in work, putting work into it. Normally that's the way it looks, right? It has a connector, just goes through here. So what I did, took it off of the battery, take the cover off, and I went ahead and tested with a multimeter by the put on the continuity. Check it out. what you need to do is, after you take the cover off, to go to each one, make sure there is a continuity. It's basically this black chip is technically a fuse in a different way, acts like a fuse for the higher voltage. This one's good, good, good. Everything's good. All of them are good. So here, I went all the way back. I was like, okay, what can be the issue? This one is the main one. The battery, what I call it? The battery safety switch. That's the one. And that's originally the one is supposed to cut the power all the way if there's an issue. And these are just a fuses in a different way. So what I did, I literally just stick the multimeter through this hole, right? Stick it through it, negative on negative, positive on positive, which is right here. That's where I stick the positive at, and straight came out 12 volts. I was confused, so I moved through. Go to the front, and that's where I started testing. Okay, set the starter right, clicks, does not start, does not move. Okay, so start thinking about it. Check it out. Does the main power cable, and that's where I started testing, like more into it. I went to tested the whole cable, as it's more common to be to get broken in the middle or somewhere in the corners. That wasn't the case, right? I thought it would be this side maybe broken. I went ahead, sticking the multimeter on the other side. One right here, fully continuity. This one is good. So I moved into start testing the cables right here. Basically the connectors, not the cables. So this cable is actually this jumping spot is basically connected straight with the starter. So I tested the starter while it's on ignition. It supposedly has 12 volts no matter what, right? This one did not have no 12 volts. It had zero volts, yes. So I moved, then I was like, could be something from connections. So I went and tested the other one, this one. This one had the 12 volts with no single issue. So I started looking left and right, just being a blind, trying to figure out what's going on. No one had that issue, right? So what I did, I started looking on this side. I was like, this one should be connected somewhere into the other side of the wire harness. There's no way to connect it basically to the ground. There's no way. So I started looking left and right, and that's what I found out. So this small wire, it belongs to the one already has the 12 volt, and this wire, I'm doing my testing. That's why it's connected to the jumper. Okay, this wire does the one for the starter, just connected just like so, right? Okay, so I started looking more. I was like, there's no access. Well, time to take the whole ECU and the whole covers out. So I did so. Take everything out and go ahead and chase that cable. Since that cable does not have the 12 volt, supposedly has a 12 volt. So I started chasing it. I looked under. I was like, okay, let's put this on the side. Just show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the way it was held, the cover, the way it was held is 4 screws, the E-Torx, right? I believe it's a E20, I believe. So when I had got that, take it off, then I found a hell of trash in here. Go ahead and cleaned it off, everything good to go. Then that's when chasing this wire coming through. I was like, okay, well, this wire sounds like it's going inside the car, but it's confusing because I don't know yet. Can't see it, I can't tell, I won't be able to know. And the fuse box is actually located literally like behind this side, literally like right here. Like, let's see, right here. That's where the fuse box is located. So I was like, okay, well, this cable might be running under through the center console or something, and goes all the way to the fuse box, right? So I went to the fuse box. Check it out. Onto the fuse box, right? Changed all the fuses. Well, tested them all, and I swapped them with the one I had. I literally got it from the car that I had totaled before, right? So I started swapping, basically just swapping the fuses, because I know these fuses are good 100%, and the ones I got out, I know they're good 100% because I tested them one by one by the multimeter. So the only thing I was left with is the fuses, right? Because we already went into the trunk, we already went to the ECU, literally. We already went to the what are called the cable itself, and we do believe it goes in, right? So I went ahead and tested all of them, literally like all the fuses. The most I was focusing on the start stop, and where's the check engine? On the check engine. These ones I went into details with them, and actually, surprisingly, all of them had the 12 volt with no single issue, which is of this cable, the one we just saw, does the one that supports the 12 volt to the fuse box, and we don't have a 12 volt on the other side. That means we won't have a 12 volt over here too. But I never thought about it, so I was like, okay, well, let me do more testing. So I flipped it because that's how the ground looks